Rajasthan's Aravalli Hills hold a ruined city of 9,000 abandoned homes. It is widely considered the most haunted place in India. If you walk to the main gates, you will find a warning. It doesn't come from local superstition, but a federal mandate from the Archaeological Survey of India. Entry after sunset is strictly prohibited. Local folklore suggests a terrifying reason for this lockdown. The story claims a dark magic practitioner named Singya became obsessed with Princess Ratnavati. When she rejected his spells, he laid a dying curse upon the entire city, ensuring its destruction and trapping the souls of its residents within the walls. Tourists and locals report a specific set of experiences. They hear women crying and screaming in the dark. They feel invisible presences brushing past them, and they see shadows darting across crumbling stone. We have to ask, is a federal archaeology agency actually protecting tourists from the supernatural? Or is there a measurable physical architecture behind the terror? The Archaeological Survey of India didn't put up that sign to keep ghosts in. The fort sits directly on the border of the massive Sariska Tiger Reserve. When the sun sets over the ruins, the threat is a biological reality. Bengal tigers and leopards frequently cross from the 800-square-kilometer reserve into the unlit, decaying corridors of the fort. Those horrific sounds of crying women and distant screams align perfectly with the nocturnal calls of wild striped hyenas scavenging for food. The government is restricting nighttime access to prevent tourists from being mauled by apex predators or crushed by collapsing masonry in the pitch black. But wild animals don't explain everything. They don't account for the sudden anxiety, the drop in body temperature, or the shadowy figures tourists claim to see in the periphery of their vision during broad daylight. This chart illustrates the spectrum of sound waves. Notice the human hearing range stops at 20 Hz. Below that boundary lies a pulsating zone called infrasound. In the 1980s, an engineer named Vic Tandy discovered that our bodies react to these low frequencies. While your ears hear nothing, sound waves at roughly 19 Hz match the resonant frequency of the human eyeball. The physical vibration triggers intense anxiety and dizziness, causing your vision to blur and creating gray blobs that look exactly like ghosts. When heavy winds funnel through the hollow, roofless stone corridors of Bhangarh, the ancient architecture naturally acts like a giant whistle, generating these exact infrasonic frequencies. The surrounding Aravalli Hills sit directly inside Seismic Zone 4. Constant minor tectonic tremors echo through the bedrock, producing continuous low-level seismic waves. People are walking into a naturally occurring acoustic trap. Measurable sound and seismic waves are physically interacting with their biology, generating feelings of absolute dread. This explains the dread, but why do so many visitors specifically report seeing human faces peering out from the ruined walls? Take a look at this image. This is a famous 1976 photograph of the Martian surface. It clearly looks like a face. It is a textbook example of pareidolia. Human brains evolved to aggressively scan the environment for other people as a survival mechanism, forcing us to recognize faces in random shadows and rocks. Combine that evolutionary quirk with the power of suggestion. Researchers at Goldsmiths University proved that if you tell a group of people a room is haunted, their brains will proactively alter their perception to fulfill that expectation. Visitors arrive at Bhangarh already expecting a haunting. They wander into an eerie environment. Their bodies vibrate with infrasound, and their highly suggestible brains fill the dark corners with monsters. Archaeologists have found 0 contemporary documents verifying that Princess Ratnavati or Tantric Sinya ever existed. In the 16th century, Bhangarh functioned as a wealthy, thriving metropolis, housing over 9,000 families, prosperous merchants, and massive temple complexes. The ruins we see today are the result of a documented disaster. In 1783, North India was struck by the Chalisa Akal. This graph traces the city's population. You can see 2 centuries of stability before the line drops vertically, crashing to 0. A severe El Niño event triggered an intense, prolonged drought. Without water, agriculture collapsed, mass starvation set in, and the surviving population abandoned the city entirely. If the truth is a devastating climate event, why did local society replace that history with a folktale about a dark sorcerer? The human mind struggles with random, uncontrollable cruelty. A drought has no motive, But a story with a villain, a curse, and a victim provides a clear cause and effect. It gives structure to the senseless loss of an entire civilization. The ghosts wandering these stone walls are not real. They are psychological coping mechanisms. By turning the site of a horrific natural disaster into a supernatural legend, society found a way to keep the memory of Bhangarh alive. Sometimes true human tragedy is simply too painful to remember without a myth.